have young men who, basketball's not exactly at the top of their list.
Sure, sure.
They will play. They don't just necessarily have to.
Sure, sure.
So it's been a work in progress, trying to get guys motivated to change a program.
Sure. Well, listen, you brought three of your seniors tonight, so let's start with Brother Anthony, man. How are you doing, Anthony?
I'm good.
So let's talk a little bit about how did you get started in basketball and just kind of what has been your inspiration, and then we'll ask the same question to Jordan and Hendricks as well.
Mm, I started basketball when I was 7. My cousin put me on.
Got you. Put me on. That's colloquialism for you young people that I don't know how to use sometimes. Jordan, tell me, who put you on?
uh, well, I started basketball in 4th grade at the YMCA, and then I didn't really play again until I got in middle school.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think that's really where
So
it started
who
from.
inspires you even now?
I just watched a lot of basketball growing up, and basketball players like Allen Iverson, John Morant,
Gotcha.
LeBron James.
All right. Hendrick?
Yeah, I started like 6th grade,
Mhm.
and then I played a couple AAU teams, and
Gotcha.
just really.
So Anthony, back to you. What position do you play? And tell me, what do you feel like the strong part of your game is?
I play point guard, and I feel like my strong part about me is my IQ.
Okay, you know the game.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, what position do you play? And tell me what you feel like your strong suit is.
I play point guard and now shooting guard since he came onto the team, but I feel like I got great pass vision. Can see the floor very well.
Hendrick?
I play power forward, and I feel like I'm decent on defense.
Sure. Let's give Coach those headphones really quickly. So, Coach, eighth year. Tell me something about you've had a chance to scrimmage, kind of up in Tulsa a little bit. Tell me what you're thinking about this team that you are currently coaching and some of their abilities and strength that you've seen so far.
Well, this has been a interesting year so far. We started the season with 2 wins. One team not very good, but the other team, U.S. Grant, not bad.
Sure.
So it started out very positively, and then kind of regressed into a tough last two games.
Sure.
I in my 8 years here, I've seen some young men come through that were pretty good basketball players, but I've never seen a player with the IQ of Anthony. I was.
So he was being truthful.
Oh, absolutely. He knows where you're going and what you're doing before you do. You can ask Kendrick about that. We've talked about it a little bit, and I'm very impressed with the progress that Jordan's made. Jordan had some issues turning the ball over early in his career and here at Capitol Hill, and he's totally turned it around, and now he's protecting the ball. He still has a couple things that we're working on that to prevent him from turning the ball over. But
sure.
And Kendrick, the best thing about him is his length that I'm trying to get him to understand how to use.
Sure.
Especially defensively, and I would agree that defense is a strong suit of his, but I'm trying to get him to understand that he can also use his length offensively.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, like my college coach used to tell me, quit tiptoeing and start jumping.
Sure.
Especially for rebounds and that deal. These guys tiptoe a lot and reach for the ball, and Kendrick especially. But if he'd ever start exploding up to get the rebound, he'd get a whole lot more rebounds.
Sure. So, Anthony, as we talk about, and Coach mentioned your IQ as well as you, what is the one thing that you would say up until this point in a very short season so far, what is the one word or phrase that seems to be characterize this basketball team right now?
I can't even
Great
give you
question.
one.
Great question.
You have not one word that describes a phrase. Jordan, what about you?
Different.
Different?
Yeah.
We'll let Kendrick go for it. It's all good.
My bad. I can't really think of it. Like, I feel like we're like different. Like, we got to work more as a team.
Gotcha. Well, give it back to Coach, because Coach, go ahead and tell us what thus far. How would you shape it up, right? And then after you tell us what it is, then tell us what the goal is moving forward.
I would say intensity is a good word to use for this basketball team. We at times lose our focus on what it is we're trying to get accomplished, and we revert back to our old ways of just playing rec ball,
Yep.
so to speak. What it's going to take to get that changed is these guys, my seniors, are going to have to step up and lead our basketball team.
Sure.
And bring that intensity back with all of our other very young players. As a matter of fact, we are playing on the varsity 3 freshmen, 3 sophomores, and these seniors.
Wow.
So we're very, very young, and they need the younger guys need desperately for these guys to step up and show them the way.
Sure.
And I'm looking forward to that happening.
Got you. So Anthony, it's a tight game, right? And you got the ball, you got to score. What is your go-to move, right? And kind of why do you feel like that's your go-to move?
Probably a hezzy because I'm quick
Now
on
say
my
that
feet.
one more time.
Probably a hezzy because I'm quick
What's
on
a
my
hezzy?
feet.
Oh, hesitation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, okay, I'm with you, man. Remember, I'm old, man. I ain't been around this conversation in a while. Yeah. Oh, hesitation. I got you. Right.
Because I'm quick on my feet.
Got you. Jordan, what's yours?
I'd probably you said to score.
Yeah, so what's your go-to move? You got to get to the bucket. You got to get a point. What is that you gonna do?
Probably a jab step, try to drive to the rim and kick it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to shoot your jumper?
If I'm open or if I got the space, of
Allen
course I
Iverson,
will.
Allen Iverson's your guy. He forced himself to be open.
Oh no, we don't do the forcing around here. We do, like LeBron said, we make the right play every time.
Yeah, I got you. Hendrick, what you got? What you got, man?
I'm not much of a like dribbler, but I feel like I could like get a mid-range shot off her.
Gotcha. So I played, and it's not about me, but I played for Tommy Griffin at John Marshall, Blake and Taylor Griffin's dad. And man, I thought I had the world's greatest jumper. And Coach Comey told me, if you shoot it outside of this paint, you're gonna be sitting over there with me. I tell him to this day, he stifled my basketball game. I really could have had a jump shot. So, Coach, are these guys accurate in their descriptions about what they need in order to help your team?
Yes and no. I mean, Anthony, for Anthony to use a hesitation, he's really, really good at it, and that may be his go-to move. But when he gets there, he's going to drop it off, which I absolutely love. And Jordan as well. He likes to spin and hook. Jordan's a hooker. That has nothing to do with girls. He likes to spin and hook. He thinks I don't know it. I mean, I know these guys' games like the back of my hand, And but one of the things that I can say is absolutely true is Kendrick. Kendrick's go to mid-range and raise up and shoot. I wish he'd get to the bucket and raise up and dunk, but
We're working on it. We're working on that.
We're
Coach.
trying to get there.
We're gonna get it.
Believe me, he's working on it. Let me tell you right now.
So let me. I'll come back to the athletes here in a second. Tell me, man, what is your philosophy in coaching? And I didn't ask, but how did you get started in coaching, right? And obviously, if you don't know, Leroy Combs is one of the greatest basketball players ever played, and from the state of Oklahoma.
Well, there was a lot of great players.
No, I'm just
I
trying
appreciate
to tell you, you are in the conversation with great players.
Well,
there's no way that you're not in the conversation. So
you got me fluttered. I don't even remember the question now.
How did you get into coaching, okay. And then kind of what's your coaching philosophy?
I was listening to these guys earlier on when they started playing basketball, and I think fifth grade or sixth grade or whatever. I started in fifth grade, And I did not play basketball. I played baseball before basketball. I was a heck of a first baseman and could really throw. But me and Michael Jordan, right? But when I got into the game, I had some great coaches: Paul Hansen at Johnny Johnson at Star Spencer, Paul Hansen at Oklahoma State, Phil Ingersoll, who's the former athletic director here at Oklahoma City Public Schools.
Who's a heck of a golfer. He's always at Jimmy Stewart's.
Very
right?
much so.
Golfing that ball.
Absolutely right. So I've developed my philosophy from those guys. I have things that I've taken from Jim Wooldridge at Louisiana Tech when I was there for 2 years, and from Jim Seward when I was at UCO when I was there for a year, and I like to run. Let me back up. Like I tell these guys, I just want to see the ball go through the hoop. I just want to, as often as you possibly can. A lot of coaches don't like for you to have 4 or 5 passes that time. If that dribble to the spot is open and you go open for a shot, I want you to take that shot. So we're a transition team. I like to play defense to get the ball. I'm not one of those, we have to make a stop. If we contest shots, if we, battle defensively, and teams are going to make shots, teams are going to make good moves and score. But as long as we're battling defensively, I think this is what I tell my players. When James Naismith invented the game, he didn't get down and start sliding across the floor and say, "Hey, yeah, we got basketball. Let's call it basketball." No. He took a ball and he put it in a basket, and there went the game. So if it's important for James Naismith to start the game of basketball by putting the ball in a basket, I think it behooves us as coaches and players to want to be scorers. Sure. So we like to score a lot.
Gotcha. So Anthony, how being a student athlete, because that's what we are. Or what I used to be. How do you balance the academic rigor or expectation in the classroom with your playing basketball? How do you balance all of that stuff out?
What you mean?
So what does that look like? How do you take the time to get your grades up and keep your grades and be committed to basketball? What does that look like for you?
Can you come back to me?
I'll come back to you. Jordan, what does that look like for you, man?
Just doing the work in class, staying on top of my stuff while I'm at it, and then just bettering myself outside of school.
Sure.
I really just focus on my grades, keep them up, and then when I get to the court, try to get as busy as I can.
Sure. So, guys, when you start thinking about college, right, whether you go to play college or you're just going to go attend college, there's this. Have you applied at the clearinghouse? Have you started taking and thinking about the ACTs, the SATs? What has that conversation been like for you all? Have you thought about that? Have you made any progress toward that in any way?
I took one ACT.
Did you?
Last year.
Gotcha. And so obviously you got to take it on national testing days, right, in order to do all of those things. And so you guys need to. Obviously you're doing it on your path to making that stuff happen. Coach, what is your conversation with these guys about academic readiness and then just this whole idea about preparing themselves to go to college?
Well, young people today have an awful lot of distractions, and it's very difficult to stay focused on the things that you need to do in order to make the grades that you need to make, and then on top of that, get to practice and prepare for games and that deal. So, I like to tell them, life is tough, and I have some things that I have to get done that other things are going to take away from that time for me to get those things done. So I encourage them to do the things. Now, we do have ACT at our school.
Yep.
And so they are taking that they have taken that. I think sophomore, junior years,
Sure.
right there at school. But you know, I'm trying to explain to them all of the things that they need in order to get to play college basketball. There are a lot of players out there in the world that would love that opportunity. These guys are no exception. But there are a lot of things that you have to do in order to get that opportunity, and so we're encouraging them to take care of business.
Yeah, and there's so many places I hear young student athletes, you know, Division I or nothing, but there's so many different levels and opportunities to play basketball. And if someone wants to give you an opportunity to play, I think you should take advantage of it.
Dennis
completely.
Rodman comes to mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And talent can be found at any university, right?
Will be found
Yes, absolutely.
anywhere in the world.
Absolutely. Last question for you guys, maybe. There's two questions. What music are you playing
Yeah, boy.
before you play Young Boy? That he the only one, or you got a mix?
My cousin too,
Okay. What's his name?
former B Diddy.
Okay. I don't know Young Boy either, but I'm learning as I interview these young folks. I'm learning. I just learned who SZA was the other day. I got a 12-year-old girl. She's like, Daddy, I want to listen to SZA. I'm like, who's SZA? Jordan, who you listening to?
Like Young Boy, Lil Durk, you know, something to get me started, get me like into that mood.
Y'all not listening to like Rob Wave?
Right, nah, man. What? I'm gonna be sad before a game, man. Come
I don't know
on, man.
nothing about the music. He just had a concert here the other day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody
I mean-
said it is pretty depressing though.
Nah, I like his music, but
That's
you
not
know,
the not before the game.
Yeah.
I got you. All right, Hendrick.
And like I'm like my music is like mixed right now, but lately I've been like on EBK J-Bo.
Look, Jordan ain't feeling whoever this guy is.
Oh no, he's
Nah.
fine.
All right.
It just like
All right, here's the last. Well, one more question after this. What are you eating before the game? Like, what is that meal? What is that thing that you really want to eat before you play?
Whatever coach cook.
Yeah, so coach is cooking.
yeah.
Like literally, he's cooking y'all.
Yeah.
a meal. Let me ask y'all. I know he's sitting right there. Is it any good? Is it seasoned?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Great.
Really? When's the next time? I'm coming to eat too. What have you guys? What has coach cooked for you guys already?
Beans and cornbread.
Oh man, with some meat in the beans.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it right there, man.
Smash.
And some Jiffy cornbread, coach, with some butter.
Yeah.
I'm coming to pregame meal. Tell me about this cooking stuff, coach.
You know, my mother, God rest her soul, she made me miss practices and games, not high school games, but AU games, other games, so I could sit and watch her cook. And,
Really?
And at first it was very, very frustrating. I could think of a million places I'd rather be than to sit there and watch. And then as time went on, I would say, why are you putting that in there? You know, and the curiosity got to me, and so I started cooking at an early age, and you know, I love cooking. I cooked the whole full Thanksgiving meal this past Thanksgiving.
Wow.
But none of my players wanted to come and eat. I guess I don't know, they didn't like me or something. But yeah, I love cooking, and you know, I'm a hunter as well, and just bagged me a nice 8-point deer.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Now, can you dress him out?
You know, I can. I'll take his guts out, but I got to take him to the processor after that.
Sure.
You know. Yeah.
Man, I wanna go hunting and try that. I'll tell you my hunting story offline.
Okay.
Off air.
Okay. Yeah. I'd love to take you hunting. We got doe season coming up here about the 18th or so of December.
Someone says that, and I know we've gone from basketball to doe.
Yeah.
But they say doe meat is probably better because those big deer, it's rut season and they eat everything.
Yeah, and those hormones running through them.
Anyway, that's enough of our doe conversation.
Okay.
All right, Coach. What are the things you're saying to your student athletes before game? Like, what is that pregame speech like? What are those things that you're trying to get your student athletes to focus in on?
You know, you said one word that is the crust of my speech: focus. You know, we're trying to concentrate on what we need to do as opposed to what the other team does. If we can get our plays run correctly, if we can get our defenses called, if we can make layups and we can do our thing, we'll have a chance to win games.
Cool beans. So this is the last question. Who out there would you guys like to say thank you to for
Great question.
contributing to your success as a student athlete and all of those things? So you could take this moment to tell anyone who's listening or watching that you appreciate and thank them for all they do for you.
I just thank my grandma and my mama.
Grandma and mama, those are very popular duos on this radio show. Absolutely. All right, Jordan, you?
Just my family, my brother, sister, mom, and dad.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
Hendrick?
I say my dad and my brothers. Like I grew up playing with them and like experiencing
Good
like
stuff.
hooping and stuff.
Coach Combs, and let me say this, Coach, before you answer that question. I want to say thank you to you. I know we alluded to you being one of the greats from Oklahoma, but honestly, man, you were a guy who played at a high level. You're a guy who came back to your community. You're a guy that's still around here trying to pour into young kids. And the reality is you didn't have to do that. There was nothing that said Leroy Combs has to come back home. But so as an old dude, as me as being an older dude, I want to say thank you, man, for just your contribution.
That is not a problem. I've looked forward to coming back here ever since when I was in Israel and Argentina and Venezuela, and I think go back home and coach. Go back home and coach. I've always wanted to, and I would like to thank certainly Eddie Wright and his staff for having us here today. That was off in Bricktown Ballpark. My mother, I'd love to thank her. She's dead and gone now, and she was a big inspiration for me. But more than that, the coaches that have influenced me,
Mm-hmm.
both as a player and as a coach. There are several who have really inspired me to be the best basketball coach I can be. I'd also like to thank these players. These players don't have to play for me. These days you get choices on where you want to go and what you want to do, and they chose to stay with me. I really appreciate them and the work that they're putting in to help me to change and mold a program. And thank you for having us. I really appreciate you as well. And it has been a trying experience here, but they have made it at least fun.
Sure. And I think that's what high school athletics is, guys. You may not believe me right now, but this is the best time of your life.
Oh, no, I tell them all the time.
It is the best time of your life. So take advantage of everything. Please, Coach, text me when we cooking beans and cornbread again, because I am in.
Well, we do. They didn't say anything about the spaghetti and
well, that's Anthony over here. He must have loved that beans and cornbread.
Sandwiches. I make the best sandwiches they've ever eaten.
I'll just come eat anything. How about that? When's the next game? I'll be over there. Hey, listen, you are listening to OKCPS Coaches Show here on CBS Sports 105.3. Brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford's Photography, Big O's Pork and Dreams, Impressions Printing, Metrotech Technology Centers, Kai's Concepts, Perry Publishing and Broadcast, and the Oklahoma City Dodgers Foundation. I'll see you guys on the other side.
Oklahoma City, I'm Miles Perry, and I want you to tune in to my show, Super Prep Live.
Super Prep Live takes an in-depth look at the Oklahoma high school student athlete and what makes he or she become great at what they do. Super Prep Live can be heard on OKC's CBS Sports Radio 105.3 and Instagram Live.
Make sure you tune in and learn about the next great student athlete on Super Prep Live with me, Miles Perry.
This is our Loves Travel Stop Student of the Month, Kiana Tubbs, from Cristo Rey, OKC Catholic High School. Thanks for joining us, Kiana.
Thank you guys for having me.
So I heard that you currently have a 4.2857 GPA.
Yes.
That is really impressive. Can you tell us a little bit about what motivates you in school?
So what motivates me in school is just kind of wanting to go to the higher levels, so wanting to go to college, but also having a support system in my family and friends and just wanting to make them proud. So student government, I'm involved as the student body president, so I had to run and be elected for student body president.
I also heard that you have plans to attend Howard University and pursue a career as a criminal defense attorney. What led to that career choice, and was that always something you wanted to do?
So I've always been into like politics and law, but I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do in that area. And so I combined my passion of helping people, and so that's kind of how I came up with criminal defense attorney. It's helping people when they're in a position where they can't help themselves.
And we're back here at the OKCPS Coaches Show at the Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark. Sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photography, Big O's Pork and Dreams, Impressions Printing, Metro Technology Centers, Kai's Concepts, Perry Publishing and Broadcasting, and the one and only Dodgers Foundation. Listen, we got the dudes, as they say. We got the guys here on the second half of this OKCPS Coaches Show. The man who makes it all happen, Athletic Director Eddie Wright. And then let him introduce the rest of his staff who is on here for the first time on tonight. So, Mr. Wright, how you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing so well. This is one of those days that I get really excited about. We get to talk about all the great things happening in Oklahoma City Public Schools, and these two men helped to make that happen along with many other members of our office. But I want to give it a shout-out to Coach Combs real quick and the Capitol Hill boys basketball team. Thank you guys for being on. Yeah. I want to tell you two things about Coach Combs real quick, though. Number one, he's coming for everybody's job in Perry Broadcasting. He's told me that he wants to do some play-by-play with his AD, Greg Adams, and I wouldn't put it past him to be really darn good at that because he's one of the best announcers we got. But to be quite serious, as a coach, I think it's so important that we are leaders within our building, and there is nobody that exemplifies that more than Coach Combs. He's a great PE teacher, but he can also get in and discipline kids in a way that they know he loves them, but he's going to hold them accountable. And so I love you for that, Coach Combs. Thank you for all you're doing at Capitol Hill High School. I want to introduce these guys. First of all, I'm going to start in the middle here with the first ever in the state of Oklahoma sports information coordinator in high school sports. I knew that we had a responsibility to our student athletes and our coaches to highlight all the successes that they have, and I was terrible at it, to be honest with you. So what do as a leader? You hire somebody much smarter than you and can do it better, and I did that in Tanner Styles, and he has really taken Oklahoma City Public Schools to the next level.
Glad to have you, Tanner. Absolutely.
And then my security guard over here, when parents get upset with me and want to come complain, I just send them to Reggie Jordan. But no, in fact, he is a new hire with us. He's been here for almost 4 months now. Reggie came from the University of Oregon, where he was on the front line with Phil Knight and the Nike contract and being in that. And so we brought him in to oversee partnerships and really let the community know that we want to be a part of what they're doing. And Reggie has stepped in and done a phenomenal job and more when it comes to that.
Appreciate that.
Cool beans. Well, so let me ask them a few questions before we get into your winter sports. So Tanner, you the first ever. You are a pioneer. How does that feel? And then tell me kind of what your role and responsibility will be.
Yeah, so, it feels good to be here. I'm appreciative of Eddie and Reggie and all the other support staff we've had at Oklahoma City Public Schools Athletics. Coming in, with 8 high schools in the district, and at first you kind of look at that and think, part of what I do is run the social media accounts for OKCPS Athletics, the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And, each school has their own individual accounts, but I kind of run the main one. So you sit down and you kind of have to figure out what you want to highlight. You kind of have to, pick your days in that front. So Eddie did a great job and kind of let me run with it when I first stepped in, and I was really appreciative of that, giving me a lot of freedom to take on the things that I felt like were important from my previous roles. Before coming in here, I kind of had an idea of, sports information and what that kind of entailed. So we have a website, OKCPSathletics.com, and on top of that, each high school and middle school also has their own individual websites as well. So part of what I do is make sure everything on those websites are updated with schedules and rosters and all that good stuff. So, Capitol Hill basketball parents want to get on and see when they're playing. They've got the schedule up, they've got rosters, and they can see all the information that they kind of need on that front. So.
Well, let me just tell you, as a guy who sits on the outside and has to, maybe look at a website here and there, for those student athletes to have a place where coaches can go look, where all of those recruiting services can go get a peek at some of the student athletes. And I think that's an incredible job, especially when recruiting has basically just turned to social media for the most part. So what a cool job to have. Brother Jordan, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
How the partners doing? How are the partners, the OKCPS, how are they doing? And just kind of share a little bit about what your role is.
Well, the partners are coming along. We're really trying to focus on getting the word out about OKCPS athletics and our student athletes and the great things that they're doing. Example with the Capitol Hill young men and coming in and sitting in at this desk and really talking about the things that are important to them. My goal is to increase the funding with our partnerships and provide some other avenues for revenue and for people to really get excited about OKCPS athletics. And it's been a whirlwind. I'm very thankful for Tanner because he provides a lot of the content that I use on the calls, and Eddie and I go in and good cop, bad cop, and we get things done. And example is TTCU, Federal Credit Union. They just came on with us, and they're doing some great things. And the ability to highlight Spartans of the game, Red Wolves of the game, or teachers of the game with Metro Tech, that has been really phenomenal for us to see that it's just not about athletics. We're trying to get some academic awareness out there as well.
No, that's really cool, man. You guys are doing a bang-up job. Yeah. Mr. Wright, so
yes, sir.
Let's jump into it. Tell us about these winter sports that are coming up. In basketball, it's considered a winter sport, right?
Yes, sir.
So, man, you got some pretty good teams in this whole basketball league,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what's happening.
Well, off to a great start. Capitol Hill boys, like we said, started off 2-0, and that's something that Coach Combs has admitted hadn't happened in a while. But it's not only that; it's seeing the development. It's been fun to be here for 3 years because you get to see the young ones when they start, freshman, sophomore, and see their development. You get to see the coaches too adapt to their kids, to playing styles, to whatever the case may be. I love seeing the growth of not only our student athletes but our coaches.
Sure.
But it didn't start this winter. This summer, we really put an emphasis on bringing student athletes on and opening up opportunities on our campuses or even off of our campuses so they have something to do. And this summer, we put on a girls' basketball camp. We had 42 high school girls participate, which was a wonderful number for us to have. And then you turn around, you got another 40 that participate on the middle school side of it. So getting them involved in summer, making sure that they're not resting on the couch all day and they've got an opportunity. You open those doors for them and they jump at it. We feed them. We get really good people in front of them. They've got an afternoon to be safe in an environment where they're loved on. It was just a great opportunity, and I think I've seen a lot of growth in basketball because of stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So besides basketball, the other winter sports, wrestling is getting ready to kick off. What's going on? You
want to talk about our second largest participation jump over the last 3 years is the sport of wrestling. Part of that is because of our female sport. They owe us, they sanctioned girls wrestling 2 years ago, and that has taken off. And as Oklahoma City Public Schools develops and continues to grow, I would not be surprised to see a couple state titles on the female side.
Wow. What other winter sport is there? Am I missing one?
That's essentially what we have.
Gotcha.
One of these days, I hope to have a swim team, but we'll get there.
Well, listen, I heard back in the day, oddly enough, Tommy Griffin was a swimmer at Douglas back in the day. There's some other old cats named Connie Sledge and some of those other guys that swam at Douglas and then went on to Langston to swim and do other things. So, yeah, swimming is a cool thing. So Reg, I think you're doing partnerships. I think tomorrow Fields and Future has something coming up.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, there's a luncheon tomorrow at Fields and Future. We'll see how that goes with
he got in the portal, I heard.
in the portal, so.
Hey, he better make his speaking event. The pay is still going to be the same.
I mean, that brings up an interesting point. The transfer portal is something that's it's taken a hold of college athletics, and it's really turned us upside down a little bit. So a little different than when you and I were playing.
I don't want to go too far in that. I think it's brought some parity. I wasn't a huge fan of it at first. I got to be honest. I just was not a fan. I think it's brought parity. I don't like all of the flipping and the flopping and the jumping. And I don't. How many times did they get the transfer, Mr. Wright? Like 8? Like I got 8 times to move.
Hey.
But no, he's going to show up tomorrow.
Real quick on that point, I'm a believer that until all our student athletes from the golf, the equivalency sports have full scholarships, that you shouldn't pay athletes. That's just me.
Sure.
I'll die on that hill. But it's been a great
near
ride.
Death right now.
Yes, I am near death right now because that horse is out of the barn right now.
Yeah. Well, the NCAA wants nothing to do with it.
No, absolutely not.
They have stayed as far away as one can stay.
Right.
So Tanner, how's it for you kind of reporting on all of these things in terms of, that's a big policing job. You got 8, 9 high schools, plus you have some middle schools. How do you bring that continuity, that consistency And then, right, then that delicate balance between one school feeling like somebody's getting more attention, but you got some guys at some of these places. You got a Douglas basketball program, a new women's coach, and I hear that team is going to be everybody who beat them by 40 last year better be careful because So how do you balance all of that and tell those stories and share all of those things?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, that's kind of the challenge is trying to figure out how to get everybody parity, right? So one of the things we've implemented, and even now into this is my second year in this position, but for football and the fall sports, we picked one game of the week where we would go and cover, to where I'd go and take pictures, highlight on social media, make promo graphics, game day programs for the fans when they walk in, things like that. And then after the game, if they won, put out a post-game graphic with the final score, and then grab a coach and a player of the game that we selected to interview. And it's been so awesome the second year, him kind of seeing the development, talking about the development earlier. Last year I was just kind of doing a post-game graphic and doing an interview, but not really posting that much. But now this year I've been posting the interviews more, and the engagement that I've seen on just the interviews has just been so unreal. I mean, those kids share it, and parents love it on Facebook and all that, and so it's been really awesome to see the engagement and our following go skyrocket in the past year and a half that I've been in this role. So that's been really awesome.
And it's been a mindset shift for our players and coaches too, because at first they didn't know what we were doing, but now that they've caught on, I'm with them all the time when kids run up and introduce them. Hey, when are you going to get me on? When am I going to be on the graphic? So he's not only doing what he's supposed to do, but he's creating relationships that we didn't have before.
Sure. Did you help Coach Stoops with this new venture he's got with all of this social media stuff and interviews that he's doing these days?
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But again, that niche, because people want to be connected. People want to share their story, right? And it's athletics and social media. Yes, it's some ills, but to be honest, it is doing as much for athletics and sports across the world that we couldn't even imagine. People are being seen. These kids are going to have experiences that they would not have had you not been in that position. So, Mr. Wright, as you look at the totality of the athletics in OKCPS, man, what do you see in the future? What are those other areas that maybe need to be looked at to say, what, this is kind of where things are moving? So what is your plans and your thoughts?
Big plans. Obviously, we have a growth mindset. We want to continue to get better each year, but let me take you to fall, and I'll demonstrate one of the things that we set out to do is create something in softball that would allow our student athletes to be competitive, to enjoy being there, but most importantly to get the retention rate up, because we have sophomore and freshmen playing, but they don't make it all the way to their senior year because the scores were way out there and it just wasn't fun for them. So we created our own league with Tulsa Public Schools. We had our teams playing against them. We noticed right away that it was so much more competitive. The girls were having a lot more fun from both sides. And here's when we hosted our tournament at ACAC, now it's USA Hall of Fame Stadium. Started talking to parents and coaches about what do you guys see as the biggest difference. Here's what we heard. We got to teach base running for the first time. What? We've never been on base, coach. We couldn't hit. So now we're thinking about scores and more fun. They just wanted to learn the fundamentals of the game that weren't available to them. So that was great. I cannot wait to see where that goes. We're about to put in our second putting green on campus at Douglas High School. We're going to follow that up at John Marshall, and our hope is that now we create an opportunity for kids to go out and practice where they don't have to travel, pay for your range tokens and all that. We can get practice right there on site, and hopefully our golf programs will take off in the next couple of years.
Speaking of that, I'm a part of the BMA, which is the Baptist Ministers Association, and we just had a golf tournament a month or so ago, and we're actually going to give Douglas a check. Don't mark me on it. It's somewhere between $300 or $500, and I've already talked to Mr. Jones. So maybe when we have Douglas on here, I'll have that check to give to Douglas. Because I know we had talked, and they want to take some buses for academics and do just some other stuff. And so, as a part of that community, we wanted to really help and do what we can.
Thank you for that.
That's awesome. That's really good. And I will say, piggybacking on what Eddie was talking about with the Turnpike 44, those student athletes really were engaged. And one thing that I was proud of, I've been to many softball events where when a pitcher's not doing well, the opposing team will have chants and things of that nature. There was none of that.
Sure.
These players were encouraging each other, getting into it, and having a blast. And And this coaches show is something that our kids really respond to as well.
Oh.
This is something that's really unique to me, coming from higher education, working at the collegiate level, seeing our kids have an opportunity to be interviewed and come on a show, and the parents love it. The parents are always asking us, how do I get the website? Where do I go? And that's important to us because it's the experience. You want to take wins and losses, and everyone wants to win. We have that. But you and I know the high school experience is what's important.
Man, it's so important, and so I really appreciate the emphasis. This is going to lead me to a kind of a controversial area, but not so much. When you have a team, let's take the Douglas football score, or let's take the softball, or let's take basketball scores, and people are in such an uproar about those scores, right? And I get it. They're still winning and losing in sports, guys.
Yeah. Right.
And sometimes it is ugly, it is lopsided. And you can't always level that playing field. No. So how then do you get your coaches and the people to kind of understand, and how do you grow them to the place where it's just a part of it sometimes? Whether someone could have done less or more or did this, that's all a philosophy for someone. That's somebody else's choice. But how then are we talking to our coaches and talking to our kids? Because you take big L's in athletics.
Sure.
But guess what? You take big L's in life.
In life, yeah. And that's how we talk about it is, it depends on how we come, we set our goals, and we set our values. Are we going to set everything we do on achievement? And if we are, then we're going to be let down. We know we are. But if we turn our lens and we say it's all about performance, or was I the best Michael McDaniel I could be today? Was I the best Eddie Wright I can be? Are we continuing to improve? Then we're going to show some successes. But most importantly, when they come back to you 5 years from now, the alumni game or at that next state title, what kind of husband and father did we just raise?
Sure.
What kind of mother and daughter is coming back to us? And if we see success there, we can still feel so good about that.
Yeah. I played on that 13-0 loss team to Oklahoma State. And, when people come up to me, that's really the only game they can remember.
Sure.
So sad.
Yeah.
All them other times we beat them.
No kidding.
Just messing around.
No
I mean, adversity builds character.
Oh, no doubt.
Hey, can I hit one more topic real quick?
Yeah, man, go right ahead. Yeah.
I want to talk
And I'm
about
sorry.
cross country and the emphasis that we put on that 3 years ago with David Crines and coming in and really focusing on a sport that is easy to do, right? Doesn't take a lot of money. We take care of shoes. You just get out there and you run.
You be tired.
So you can be tired for sure. But 3 years ago, 111 student athletes across the board in Oklahoma City Public School. This year, 489. We sent 32 kids to Arkansas to compete in a national Chili Pepper Open. We come back and we qualify 5 teams for the state championships. 5 teams. Southeast High School, Northwest Classen High School, U.S. Grant, Classen SAS, and Douglas. So could not be more proud of what our coaches, what our community is doing for us in cross country. We're going to continue to do that. And once we start building our new projects we have, I got a really big surprise for cross country in Oklahoma City Public Schools.
Well, listen, anything else you guys want to get out? Because I know we're going to be off of here in a second. You guys got anything you want to share? What you got, Tanner?
Oh,
Tanner,
man.
come on, man.
New guy, Tanner.
Well, he had me put together this list of everybody to highlight. Yeah, I mean, I know he already hit on cross country, but we talked about winter sports in the previews, and I mean, basketball last year was a really big success in the district, and Douglas obviously winning the state championship last year was one of the highlights last year. So really looking forward to this winter, these next couple months, to see some of these teams. I mean, I think Douglas is still going to be pretty strong this year, along with the Classen SAS girls nearly made state last year, got a lot back this year. So going to be really a lot of fun to kind of get to go to some of those games and continue to highlight our student athletes too.
And I can just see the story with Coach Alexander and his son, who is really playing well and maybe has a chance to go to the next level. So a lot of really. That's why I love Oklahoma and being from here, because I see these kids at church. I see them in the streets. I get in the free to all the basketball games, even though Mr. Wright is not giving me my pass yet. But they let me in free because they remember me from the radio show. They're like, oh, you just come right on in. So, Reggie, you want to share anything else?
I would encourage everyone to get on our OKCPS athletics website and look for a home game for our wrestling programs and our basketball programs. The kids really need the support. Come out and get some nachos and a hot dog and reminisce about the old days. That pride in your school. Let's not worry about the wins and the losses right now, but give some support to these young men and women who are out there, giving it their all, playing their hardest right now. And like I said, get a hot dog and a Coke and whatever, and have a good time on a Friday night supporting some of our student athletes.
I don't think you. I think you will miss out on something if you don't go out
Correct.
and support OKCPS Public Schools in
No doubt.
some way, in some athletic event.
Yeah.
Just to have the experience. The people are really nice, and let me tell you, some of the food in this concession stand is really good.
They know how to do it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to tell you, it doesn't sit with me well, but I'm sure enjoying
That
it.
jalapenos and the nachos. Woo.
And if you come out to basketball, you're also going to see some phenomenal cheer and prom squads that we have in OKCPS who really do a great job of supporting our teams.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you for being on. You have been listening to the OKCPS Coaches Show here at the Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark. Yay! Sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photography, Big O's Pork and Dreams, Impressions Printing, Metro Technology Centers, Kai's Concepts, Barry Bozian and Broadcasting, and the Oklahoma City Dodgers Foundation. Thank you so much. And listen, cheer tonight for the Jaguars to beat the – well, should I say that? Cheer for the Bengals. He's an Oklahoma guy, that they beat the Jaguars tonight. Y'all have a great night. See you next Monday.
Thank you.